here we have a interesting thing about the abortion thing. Democrats' bill would make Roe versus Wade law and expand it. Do you remember a couple of years ago when all the Republicans were, all the states were passing these laws, and Democrats were like, no, you're going too fast. No, you shouldn't be doing that. Not that. We got something similar here. It's just Democrats are doing it this time because what they want is they think is under attack when it really isn't. But let's get on in here. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats' abortion legislation is very simple, as it would enshrine into federal law the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade decision that legalized abortion nationwide. Senate Democrats are moving quickly to try and codify the 50-year-old ruling after a draft of the U.S. Supreme Court suggesting the court is poised to overturn the case was leaked last week. But they don't have enough votes, and Republicans are expected to block the bill in a test vote Wednesday. Yeah, I sure hope so. I'm not for this. It just makes no sense. I don't like it. It's not good. They're rushing through on a whim because their far leftist idiots are pushing. They're very vocal. They're not listening to the moderate side of their party at all. But we'll continue. But if the Democratic legislation were to become law, it would do more than just preserve the status quo, because it's not made to preserve the status quo. The bill would also expand protections, invalidating many state laws that Democrats and abortion rights advocates say have infringed on the original 1973 ruling. Two Republican senators who support abortion rights have indicated they won't vote for it, instead favoring their own narrower legislation. A look at the legislation the Senate is voting on Wednesday, codifying Roe v. Wade. Broadly, the main objective of the legislation is to codify Roe v. Wade into federal law, meaning it would be much harder for the Supreme Court to overturn. In the 5 decades the ruling has been court precedent, abortion rights supporters have not been able to pass federal legislation to legalize abortion. And because the Supreme Court decided on that right, it can also take it away, which is what they're very fearful of. However rare that may be. The thing is, the overturn's not actually getting rid of it. It's just passing it from federal to state. And that's what they don't like. In codifying the legislation would establish that healthcare providers have rights to provide abortion services, and that patients have a right to receive abortions. What it does not say is that it should be forced. Now, the healthcare providers are forced to provide abortion services. But that's really what the left wants, a force, not a right. A right means you have the right to not do it, which is what the left doesn't want. They want you to be, they want it, no, you have to do it. That's what they want. The Democrats' bill would also end certain state laws that they say have chipped away at the original Roe v. Wade decision, banning what they say are medically unnecessary restrictions that block access to safe and accessible abortions. The court has allowed states to regulate but not ban abortion before the point of viability, around 24 weeks, resulting in a variety of state laws and restrictions that abortion rights supporters oppose. Today's abortion rights supporter, they don't even want any restriction. They want to be able to do it right up to birth. And I've seen a couple of videos. It's been years now, and I saw some couple of years ago. People, they want the right for basically an abortion after birth. One person I watched several years ago, they wanted it up to a year old. This was a far left video. I wish I could find it again. And the person doing it, the others were in absolute horror at her. Now, this was about probably 10 years ago, which is why I can't find it anymore. But everybody else in that thing was absolutely horror shocked at what she said. And I think it was about 4 years ago, there was a big abortion thing under Trump. And I started seeing that come back, and it was no longer a horror thing. People were just like, yeah, no, that's maybe too much. They weren't horrified anymore. So, no, it's coming. Just wait. This right here, this bill's a step in their direction. The bill would ban earlier than 24 weeks in addition to any restrictions that do not make exception for the patient's health or life. It would also stop states from requiring providers share medically inaccurate information. Why would it stop them? It would stop states from requiring providers share medically inaccurate. Why would you want to stop that if it's medically inaccurate? Or requiring additional tests or waiting periods aimed at dissuading a patient from having an abortion. No, I like that wording right here. Aimed at dissuading. No, what they're doing is they're educating. Can't do that. You can't educate someone on abortion because it's either they don't want people to be educated. Apparently, Republican Senators Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska support abortion rights but have opposed the Democratic legislation, saying it is too expansive and could threaten some religious liberties that states have sought to protect. They have introduced legislation that would hew closer to what the court currently allows. So if they're doing one that is closer to what the court, basically Roe versus Wade, then what the hell is this? They're not really codifying Roe versus Wade. They're doing something a little bit different. Let's see. More generally, prohibiting states from imposing an undue burden on the availability of a woman to choose whether or not to have an abortion prior to fetal viability. It's not expected to get a vote, of course, because it's a Republican bill, and Schumer and the Democrats shelf stuff like that. But without the votes to pass their bill, Democrats have few options to block the essential court ruling if it overturns Roe versus Wade. Democrat leaders have signaled that they intend to take the fight to voters ahead of this year's midterms. We've got to win elections, said Senator Chris Murphy said Tuesday. And here's another problem. It's not as popular as what they think. A lot of people are kind of in the middle. They're like, I don't know. Me, I don't like it. But if you outlaw it completely, people are still going to do it. You're going to endanger lives. But there is a point where it's not viable. And I do think, Democrats and pro-abortion people, they call it a fetus so that they avoid the term baby. Because a baby has a negative connotation to it. But I don't know. What do you think about this bill? Personally, I don't like it. I don't like doing it. I think it'll do the wrong thing. Let me know what you think. Right, wrong. Let me know. I'm on YouTube. Come on over to Rumble, Grid 7, and I'll see you next video.